Sugar!
Hello, my name is Alice and welcome to my channel. I was planning to do this very differently, but I do get sick a bit often, so I tend to need to lie down and not being able to walk at my computer. So I hope that this is gonna be okay. I'm recording with my phone right now. Um, I'm not gonna ask you to like nor subscribe. I just hope you enjoy the conversation. And also, obviously, spoiler alert. Um, some of my speculations might turn out to be true. It is statistically possible. So if you don't want to be accidentally spoiled, feel free to change channel right now. So I wanted to say so much, not just about what we're about to see tonight, but in general about the whole end of the series as we know it, as well as some stuff that didn't quite play out for me, but I'm still hoping it plays out in books, so maybe I'll do some separate video for that. I've had some theories years ago, and I used to go and find, communities like Reddit, and I had a Tumblr, and so I used to put all my theories, but they were a bit outlandish. Some of them turned out to have played, but they were pretty logical, really, nothing special. Anyway, let's talk about the Night King. Well, the Night King, I say too much now. I believe that he has been planning all this for, I don't know, maybe 1,000 years. I'm not even sure. He seems to always be very stationary. He seems always to be waiting for something. You have to remember that he walks and he can see the present and where people are, just like Bran. So when the three-eyed raven said to Bran, "I've been watching you all of your lives," the Night King has probably done the same. Has been waiting for 1,000 years for, I don't know, the nearest dragons, or the chance of. Also, you have to understand that if Dany and Jon wouldn't have met, the Night King wouldn't have had the chance to get a dragon beyond the wall, because Dany had to go and rescue Jon. If Catelyn Stark had loved Jon like she was supposed to, he wouldn't have been at the wall. He would have been probably at the Red Wedding and being slaughtered with the rest of them. So in the end, like Bran says, and I think he's probably talking to Theon, in the end, all you've done brought you back home. And what the Night King is doing is just, he knows that Daenerys was going to be what he saw. He probably can see the future, so he has a way of dodging it, and at the same time knowing when will be the best chance for him to fetch whatever he wants. Why does he want a dragon? It wasn't just for the wall. If you think about it, he has never crossed continents. He has never been able to. So what does a dragon allow him to do? It allows him to obliterate the whole planet. He just has to fly Viserion to Essos, or whatever other continents might there be. But I mean, think about how many people live in Essos. He has never been able to do that. And also, an undead dragon doesn't need to rest, so he will just fly the whole way to Essos. That'll be a shock for the Maesters, who didn't want to listen to Sam. At first, I thought Sam was going to be the one to write, the Book of Ice and Fire, or the story of Jon Snow. In general, what's going to happen. But then, when Tyrion, in last episode, sat down and listened to Bran's story, I thought Tyrion is one of the best at, recording, with his mind, events, all sort of interactions, and I think that he might be the one to write the book or the story. Maybe no, it's not going to be Sam. I've always been convinced it was going to be Sam, but maybe it's going to be Tyrion. Certainly not Bran. I don't see him writing anything. Maybe just telling Tyrion, and then Tyrion can write all sort of details and maybe even correct history books. Who knows? Yeah, so going back to the Night King, I don't know if he's gonna show up at this battle, to tell you the truth. I think that he might just be flying south, whether he's flying to King's Landing. Actually, he might be flying to the Isle of Faces. That's where the last children of the forest are, and well, there might be others around, but I mean, possibly bigger communities down there. That's where I think the first Night King, which I don't know if it's the current one, I'm not quite 100% sure about that, was turned. I mean, was a normal man. And years ago, I used to think that Bran probably messed up a lot of history, that he probably worked not just in into the Mad King's mind because he was hopping too fast and he didn't understand his power. So maybe at the beginning he did more damage just by hopping into the past and getting into these people's mind and changing history. So at first I thought Bran probably worked into one of the first men, because why would a man alone venture if they were enemies into... Did they kidnap that man? Because if the guy went there voluntarily, maybe Bran worked into his mind like he did with Hodor in the past, and then he went to speak to the children. But the first time he did it, perhaps what happened is that they just decided to do whatever they were going to do anyway. I wonder if the secret to maybe defeating the Night King could be maybe dislodging that huge piece of obsidian slash dragon glass he has in his chest. But how do you do that? How do you get close enough to dislodge that? I don't know. That's a possibility, but so I think, but yeah, as I said, this is what just things I thought years ago. And then I thought when I saw the previous three-eyed raven monitoring Bran and being so careful, I thought maybe he's the one who made the mistakes. He's the one who tried to change history, and that's why he didn't want Bran to do it. That's a possibility too. Also, another theory I used to have years ago was regarding Mira, and I thought maybe this might play in the books, maybe not, maybe it's too outlandish, I have no idea. But Mira, not just because she looked so different from her brother, Jojen, but also because she looked so similar to Jon Snow, similar age, similar everything. And I thought maybe Lyanna had twins, and when that maid comes out and brings one baby, maybe there is two babies. It's just that the other baby is a girl, and Ned already would have a huge task, at hand, bringing one baby home. Imagine bringing two. So one baby, perhaps, the girl was given to Howland Reed to raise as his daughter. But, because if you think about it, the dragon has three heads. I know about, the whole history of Joanna Lannister with the Mad King. She used to be one of the courtesans or whatever. I don't know. I don't remember 100% of it. I used to read whatever I could about it, but that was many years ago. So with the Mad King, Joanna was her name, I think. Yeah. Joanna Lannister with the Mad King. So all of them, maybe just Tyrion, could be a Targaryen, I mean a half Targaryen, and that would explain his whole passion for dragons and knowing everything about it, and dreaming of having one and all sorts. Um, but that was a theory I had probably in season 3. I'm not sure. I don't know. I think that it would make more sense and spite more Tywin if Tyrion was actually 100% his son. Maybe the other two weren't, because Tyrion was born afterwards. The other two were born before. I mean, the other two being Jaime and Cersei. Um, and Joanna Lannister was then promised to Tywin, but before then, she seems to me, from what I've read, that I recall some sort of fling, romance, I'm not sure, between her and, or the Mad King actually lusted over her, something like that. I don't recall exactly. So he could have raped her, I have no idea. But so maybe the twins, considering there is such a predominance of twin and in Targaryen families, I wonder if maybe Jaime and Cersei are the ones that are half Targaryen, but I don't know. It doesn't make sense with the dragon has 3 heads. The dragon has 3 heads, why? Because, yeah, in the book we have another character that's not present, Grief, young Grief, but so that would make more sense. Jon Snow, Daenerys, and Grief would be the 3 heads of the dragon, but in the TV show, there is no Grief. So who's the third? Is it Jon and Dany's child? Is it Mira? The other? Speaking of Mira, when she left, when she actually entering back the cave before Hodor died, right after the Night King arrived, she grabbed a sword. Now, the previous three-eyed raven, he's a half Targaryen, I think. Yeah, Targaryen rebel. The whole it's too long. I can't get into it right now. But he was supposed to have a sword called Dark Sister. Now, if my theory is correct and Mira is a twin of Jon Snow, it would make sense that she now has Dark Sister, which is supposed to be the sword that belonged to the previous three-eyed raven. Obviously, it could have moved from being all entangled in that tree, so but that was the only sword there, and it makes me think that there wasn't just like it wasn't a group of swords and she grabbed one. There was only one sword. Everything else was like a spear, or I think, if I recall correctly. Anyway, there is so much I want to talk about it, but let's go back to the episode. One of the things, I mean, so heartwarming. Theon, poor Theon, he's gonna die. Anyway, so yeah, where do I start? Okay, last episode. There were so many things, so many wee things I wanted to talk about, like Daenerys, when especially when she sees Sansa and Theon reuniting, realizing after her first bit of conversation with Theon that she doesn't know anything about the history of these people, the history they have together, and look how Sansa melted in front of Theon, and she saw Sansa, and Daenerys saw Sansa as a very stoic, very, defending. She now sees a different side of Sansa because she doesn't know really anything about the North. She needs to learn to understand Westeros and all the relationships that bind these people. So yeah, that was a point. I know it's Danny a bit, you have to understand. I mean, this girl has worked 7 years. I'm all team Targaryen, Stark and Targaryen. So, but I think that Dany, you have to understand also where she comes from, and I think they've pushed a bit too much her defensive side, I would say, because she's just being defensive. She feels like people are not supporting. In she has never been as cruel like that before burning the other Tali members. Um, she has never. So to me, it feels a bit forced. I don't know, but I do understand also her. She doesn't know if John. She should know better that John doesn't care. He cares about her more, and probably in this next episode tonight we'll see how he might risk his life really trying to save her, and that will show her that he truly loves her, and he'd rather rule the Seven Kingdoms with her, marrying her. You remember when Davos said the proposal is what I'm proposing? So he's probably going to talk to Jon Snow and say, hey, you need to propose to this girl because you guys could be good together. I mean, you mitigate her fiery Targaryen factor, and she lights up your dull northerner vibe a bit. So I'm still rooting for them like a lot. I mean, I fangirl so much when I saw Gendry last episode. But anyway, and I saw that. I mean, I was a big shipper since possibly season 2. I'm not sure. Early on, I mean, I know she was a child, but I envisioned her in the future. This is a guy she shared so much with, and I thought, not just about the Oracle. Bobby B keeps guessing right everything. I mean, I didn't like the guy, but at the same time, it's hilarious. And thanks a lot to Bad Lip Reading, or Bad Lip Reading, I think, because their medieval thing is like one of the funniest thing I've ever seen. I watched it years ago, but every once in a while I play it again. So yeah, Bobby B. He, we all know he intended for House Stark and House Baratheon to join. I think that the pregnancy we're only gonna see maybe just the marriage between Daenerys and Jon. I'm not sure we're gonna get a child, but we might. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But at the same time, I thought the actual pregnancy is gonna be Arya. She's now 18. I mean, in medieval times, she's actually probably even late for marriage. I know that Arya never wanted that life, but she really cares for Gendry, and she really likes him a lot, possibly really loves him. We'll see it in the battle, because if Gendry falls, I bet that Arya is gonna shout to Barry, come over here and res my boyfriend, or something like that. Well, obviously she wouldn't use those words, but I also think that if Arya falls in battle, the desperation of Gendry will make Beric do something, I think, because he feels like he betrayed them, so maybe he will do something and give the breath of life. I mean, give the power of the Lord of Light and rest them with the power. Sorry, I'm not really speaking very well. I've been a bit sick today, so forgive me.
Little bunny.
I'm really pushing this.
You're so pretty.
It's powerful, yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of speaking of resurrecting people, Melisandre can be in Winterfell already as an old woman. She could be that little girl. She's able to glamour herself probably as a younger person as well. But if she's not there, I mean, if she's there, I think she might be alone. But I really envision her coming back with Kinvara and other priests and priestesses from around. Because if Daenerys is the light and everyone is seeing her as, the champion of the Lord of Light, why shouldn't they help? I mean, they should be like the Knights of the Vale in the Battle of the Bastards, arriving at the last minute and changing the tides completely. Both resurrecting people, but also together, all those priests, imagine possibly what kind of power they can unleash. I don't know, I'm just imagining. That can't be, they didn't plant the whole Lord of Light thing in us, and we have witnessed the power of it without, speaking of the Lord of Light, the symbols, it was not a chance that they put our attention on the car stack silly symbol, which is still some sort of, sun or spiral. Because when we saw young Ned Umber, when everyone was speaking about Cersei's dragons, the thing that I said when I watched the episode, when he was shouting, at first I was scared, obviously, but then I was saying, "Where are my wagons?" Because he kept asking about wagons to Sansa, I think was it? Yeah, at the beginning of episode 1, I think. But anyway, so Jamie amazing. Wait, I was actually trying to finish the previous thought. What was I talking about? Um, all right. Yeah, the power of the Lord of Light. If you think about it, the Night King, when you die, you don't see anything. And I've always had this wild theory that the Lord of Light, although it might also be seen as a villain, but if you think about it, if he's trying to stop the Night King from not from implementing this long night and erasing everything, it means the Lord of Light has to be some sort of opposite, some sort of, there has to be more than just nothingness. But maybe I'm wrong, and maybe the good guys are the White Walkers. I don't know. We have to understand what kind of pact was made in the past. The Night King might be looking for his bride, a promised child. The promised prince maybe was promised to him first, and not like Lyanna, because I always interpreted Lyanna made Ned promise, so he was the promised prince, not just because of the Azor Ahai thingy, but also because of literally, Ned promising her. That he do, maybe he said it where we didn't see possibly the whole conversation, that he do everything maybe to protect him. So yeah, we're talking about symbols. When when young Ned Umber was burning, obviously there was a bit of how can I say, similarities between the Targaryen symbol. But from what I understand from the cave at Dragonstone, the Targaryens arrived way after the symbols of the children of the forest. That's what we understood also from the history in the cave. I mean, from the graffiti, whatever. So the Targaryens, when they arrived from old Valyria, they probably adopted, if they were in Dragonstone, they probably saw the caves. They probably, adopted the symbol with their dragons on top. So it's not really something that I'm exploring too much, although there could be something behind it. Maybe the Night King is not a Stark. Maybe he is originally Targaryen, but no. Speaking of Dragonstone, that's a bunker. I have said it years ago on my Tumblr. That's a bloody bunker. You can stay in there and no White Walkers can enter because they can't be in contact with any of that. So that is the safest place. Just forget forget Pike and the Ironborns. Just go directly to Dragonstone, unless Cersei has occupied it in the meantime. And at least you can, rethink your plans. Especially if the Night King has gone to the Isle of Faces to eliminate the last children of the forest. If he's flying south, either to King's Landing or to the Isle of Faces, then, I don't know. I mean, tonight's episode is going to be amazing, but I think there is so much, obviously, there's so much more to see. I'm saying something obvious. There's so much I want to say, but I'm forgetting probably a million things. Let's think about really last episode so that maybe I can recall some stuff. Jamie's trial. I really enjoyed Bran. I knew he was gonna not say anything. I knew that Jamie wasn't gonna die like that if he can be of any use, but at the same time, obviously, I'm never 100% sure of anything with this series, and that's what I love about it. Makes my brain work, but I can never be sure. Even if I thought that's the best logical possibility, I still get surprised. So I do get some things right, but I get things wrong plenty. So what else? Um, yeah, the reunions. That last episode was just beautiful, and they are playing with us. You know that. You know that tonight is gonna be bloodbath. Um, Sorry for saying so many but as I said, I wasn't feeling too good, and I haven't prepared anything to say, so I'm just going with it. Um, so in an hour or so, if internet, that's another thing, internet has been pretty spotty with us, so I'll be reacting. My boyfriend, and I don't know if other people will join us, but my boyfriend definitely doesn't want to be on camera. So there will be my dog. My dog, her name is Luna, but she's been renamed Little Ghost since she has 1,000 names, well, 1,000,000 names really. We call her all sort of things, but she has also the name Little Ghost because she really looks like Ghost. She even has exactly that gray, very light gray spot at the back of her back, extended to her tail. She's really gorgeous. Her tail is down. She's more like a wolf. She's not a. She has some husky in her. She's a kind of half husky, but she. When I had to cross continents, I had to obviously get her here to the UK with me. That was before I even started watching Game of Thrones, so I didn't get this dog because he looks like Ghost. The contrary. So she had to go through customs, and she had to go through the whole. The UK is pretty strict about traveling with your dog from a different continent, and especially from the US. Well, especially really from other countries, but they don't really make a lot of difference. You have to have all sort of things. You have to start 6-8 months in advance with everything. I'm digressing, sorry. I was supposed to talk about Game of Thrones only. Forgive me. Anyway, she's really, really amazing, and she's so sweet. So tonight we're gonna do. I'm just gonna be petting her. It's gonna be her reactions because I have a mask, but my eyes are pretty expressive, so hopefully it's gonna be okay. If not, just change channel. No need to, tell me it sucks. So so yeah, let's go back to that end of the episode. Maybe Danny and John will have to burn down Winterfell themselves at the end, because in order to prevent the army from getting bigger, if they have to retreat south and they're losing Winterfell, the logical choice is to burn it. It would be heartbreaking, and probably we'll see again the type in the opening, in the intro opening sequence. We'll see again, like we saw in season 3 or 4, not sure. Winterfell all burned, and that will be sad again. The intro is so gorgeous with those tiles turning as the White Walkers march. It's just unbelievable. The work that has been put into this TV show is mind-blowing. I've studied entertainment, and I sometimes, this is the only show that actually gets me away from the technical, because it's so, and I'm so passionate about it, obsessed maybe, that when I watch it, it's the only show that gets me away from the technicalities of cinematography, editing, and everything. Don't look at my editing and this stuff that I'm putting out on YouTube, because obviously I'm not making any effort. I'm not, as I said, I'm not fully myself, full strength right now. So yeah, I really hope Melisandre shows up, and I hope maybe she saves Davos, and he will rethink about having to, she will save the day. I know she will. Her arc won't be complete until she does, and I'm counting on Kinvara, which is, much. Okay, Kinvara, a priestess who is much more powerful than Melisandre. Where the hell is she? Why? All this talk about every priest in Essos knows that Daenerys. Can't they find a boat? Really? I don't believe this is the most important quest of their lives. In their lifetime, even if they live for 100 years, I don't care, it's still the most important. So what are they doing? And also, where is the obsidian on the armors, especially dragons? You need to put something on them. You need to put something on Danny, you need to put something on John that is not just metal. You need to put some, like they did with the shields of the Unsullied. Speaking of the Unsullied, I'm really worried, unless they throw a curveball at us and both Miss Sunday and Grey Worm survive, I really don't see Grey Worm making it because of the speech, everything. Theon definitely won't make it. His arc's complete. Not that I'm a fan of all complete. I like this TV show also because it can surprise me, so I would love for Theon to survive. I would love for him to have a story with Sansa, to tell you the truth, because she's traumatized about men, and he's, not a threat, and they love each other. I feel they do very deeply, so they would be the perfect couple for one another. Bran. Oh, I haven't talked about Bran. Did I? Oh yeah, I barely touched on it. Bran. Do you remember the trailer when there was the feather flying over, and then we saw Bran's wheelchair on the ground? To me, the way the wheelchair was mashed, and the way that wall is open, you can barely see it for one frame, but the wall is open as if something went through it. So someone pushed that wheelchair down, although that trailer was really symbolic. You see the pin of Tyrion, not because he's gonna die, but probably because his position in this season was gonna be questioned. So his hand, being Hand of the Queen, Arya's sword. If you think about it, Arya's sword is in that storage room, so it has to have some meaning. Not only because it won't be useful against the Whites and the White Walkers, and of course not the Night King. So she probably. Sorry, I think about something else and I lose my thread. Yeah, that was symbolic too. Jaime might die. I feel that Jaime might actually die. Maybe Arya will be able to take his face, maybe go down to King's Landing with Sandor Clegane, and then maybe we can have Clegane Bow. But I don't see it being as smooth as we think it's going to be, but we'll see. So, yeah, about the storage room I was talking. If I were Arya and I really, really cared about Gendry, he's not he can fight, but he's not at the level of Arya, and he's not at the level of Jon. I'm really afraid Gendry might fall in battle. So if I were Arya, I would lock him in that storage room, and he will be really mad, but at least he will survive. So, I don't know, maybe he will burst out at some point, but I don't know. But as I said, if either one falls in battle, I really hope there is someone to resurrect them, because you can't stop. Honestly, you can't stop that ship now. I've wanted that ship since season 2. So I hope they will end up at Stormhand. And if Arya is pregnant, Jon has never wanted to father a bastard. To father a child as a bastard. So why would he want his favorite sister to go down that road? So I think that King Aegon, if he's gonna be king, or with Dany, they will legitimize, even if he's a Baratheon. Dany will understand he has no, he has never even met Robert, so, but at least Storm's End will go to them, and Arya, like her father said, will be ruling a castle, and she will have kids, and she will be very happy. She wouldn't have chosen it in the first place. That's not what she thought, because she's so independent. But at the same time, she really likes him, and I think she loves him. And since very early on, before she even knew, she remembered in the first episode when Gendry arrives. when she sees John, she has to collect her emotions because she's feeling she's leaping, and she's so used to be calm and collected that I feel she was looking on the ground just to stop looking at John so that she didn't get emotional, because there is still that part in her, and part of her journey in this season I feel is going back to that part of Arya that she had lost for so many seasons, and falling in love with Gendry is her chance to fully recover part of her, still maintaining the new Arya, but don't lose the old you. And I think that having a happy life with Gendry, sparring together, teaching their kids to be good knights in general, now that also girls can be knights, so she would have a great time being a role model for if she stops, murdering people with weird faces. I wouldn't want her kids to see that. But and if you remember in the trailer, when she's running away, I really believe, Arya is, first of all, that injury she has on her head. How the heck did she get injured that badly? I thought when I saw that trailer, maybe, you remember when they introduced us to Nymeria and her pack, when Nymeria recognizes Arya, when Arya puts her weapon down, which Nymeria has a bit of a, pet peeve for her, considering her past history, but she recognizes Arya, and I've had a problem with that since season 5, because I thought she was behaving really like not Arya in certain parts, but when Nymeria recognized her, I was like, Nymeria would not be fooled by the way for anyone else posing as Arya, even if, she was going to do the things Arya was going to do. So I realized, okay, they just played some things badly, but it's Arya, because Nymeria recognized her. She wouldn't have been fooled. They established that moment to make us know that Nymeria will recognize Arya, and her pack will not attack her. So what happens? At first I thought, wow, they didn't introduce that. Nymeria and her pack is going to save Arya in the direst of moments, and it's going to be amazing. And then I thought, well, maybe they actually put that moment in to establish the fact that alive Nymeria, recognizes Arya, but Arya could be approaching a dead Nymeria, trying to get through her, like saying, hey, it's me again, but Nymeria trying to maul her. I mean, that injury on her head, it could be the result of a direwolf bite, or, something I don't know how she escaped, but and the fact that she's so scared, and she's in the tunnels, I think in the tunnels underneath Winterfell, those that Maester Luwin told Theon and other times about. So there is a net of tunnels, and if the Night King was Stark, and those tunnels are ancient, the Night King would know about those tunnels. So not only he can raise the dead at a distance, so he could be raising the dead in the crypt, even if he's not in the crypt. But at the same time, he could be just coming in through the tunnel. But why would he dismount the dragon? I don't think so. Sorry, I'm just going through this sometimes, and I just think, no, not gonna happen. So yeah, about the crypts and Arya. So what is Arya escaping from in that trailer? Something we'll see tonight. If the dead, as I was saying about the crypts, if the dead rise, we could see Catelyn. No, Catelyn Stark is not even buried there, is she? Maybe they recovered. I don't know if they ever recovered. In the TV show is not clear. In the books it's completely different, the story. So I'm not gonna refer it in this video. But she could be running from Rickon. Rickon is a recently deceased. Sorry, is a recently deceased member of the Stark family. Certainly the freshest body there. But don't forget, the Night King can also raise complete skeletons. I've seen them beyond the wall. So there is barely any flesh attached to them. So I don't see that being a problem for him raising that, all the Starks buried there will rise. I don't see Ned rising without a head and with a little mound of bones. because if you remember when Kathleen received bones from Littlefinger when she was in Renly's camp, it was a small thing. So it's like a pile of little bones, and I don't think the Night King can put things back together like Lego. So anyway, I'm probably gonna finish this now. There is so much more I wanna say, but it's coming up for the stream, and I have to put this audio somehow out. So I'll just fetch some images and put the audio out and just slap some content on YouTube, which I haven't done for years. I used to be Valonqaria because I really believed Arya was the Valonqar, but then I thought, Sandor Clegane, the Hound, is still a younger brother. Euron Greyjoy is still a younger brother, so Valonqar, it just stands for younger brother. It doesn't have to be Cersei's younger brother. I mean, I don't know. I still think she's lying about that pregnancy, but anyway. So yeah, I forgot, probably a number of things about a number of characters, forgive me. I wanted to say so much more about the previous episodes. But anyway, so see you in, I don't know what time it is, about an hour maybe? Anyway, at 2 a.m. UK time, and at least you will be able to watch my dog sleep. Okay. Oh, by the way, we won't be able to put, years ago it was possible, I used to do animations, but I can't put any video or sound, so you'll have to sync the episode if you watch the live stream later, or maybe I'll make a version, but it might be taken down because Article 13 passed, and in the next month it will be under effect, so a lot of videos of reactions are going to be taken down, and I'd rather put something without the sound that you can actually sync the episode. Everyone has the episode, so we can sync it if you really want to see a reaction. So we'll have headphones and we'll hear the content, but you won't. I hope you have a great evening. I hope you enjoy episode 3. I'm really nervous and anxious about it. I know a bunch of people are going to die, but hopefully not my favorites. Not Arya, please. Not Jon, not Dany, not direwolves, I don't know, no dragons. Anyway, no Tyrion. I still believe Tyrion is not going to betray Daenerys. I still believe he will be good until the end. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I really like Tyrion. So I'll see you in an hour, and thank you for listening to this ranting. Thank you again. Have a good evening.